Welcome back everybody to another video. In this video, I am gonna compare the Arcam AVR390 with my Marantz AV7706. I'll try to make this as fast as possible. It's gonna be part 1 of 3. I got the Rotel Mark II's comparison coming up. Now, I'm making this video. It's gonna be more focused on the sound quality, as far as the features and all that goes, and the specs. You can always look that up. Just going to give you guys a rough idea of my thoughts on these type of processors and receivers, so you can better decipher on your next upgrade. And this two receivers and processor here is still relevant because right now natively the highest resolution is 4K, and that's even questionable. And then the highest hertz for movies right now, or gaming for game consoles right now, is 120 hertz, and that's even questionable when it comes to frames per second. So it's still relevant. And we're gonna put the Arcam. Obviously, the Arcam is a 4K Dolby Atmos receiver, and it's like the first lineup of 4K from Arcam. It's that fMJ lineup here, and then the Marantz 8K processor here is the Marantz first generation 8K processor. Just on a side note. Now, when you run on eARC, which is your enhanced audio return channel, you're gonna lose data transfer. Just keep that in mind. But as far as the Arcam go, from my experience, the Arcam, when you run it in eARC, you can't even, it's not even noticeable. Every other brands, you will notice the loss of transfer. It's gonna still sound good. It still can sound great. And then also on a side note, when you run something eARC, as of right now, you don't have the capabilities of having DTSX. Okay, so now that's out of the way. Just so that we are clear on going forward on how, so we can understand each other on sound quality, because sound quality is subjective, and I can tell you it's warm, I can tell you it's bright, but it's not going to do you justice unless you experience it. But what I can do is that I'm going to give you guys an idea of what I rated, and I put the standard rating system that I came up with here, and of course its reflection will be combined with the processor and amp. And also, what's considered a good surround sound to me is when all your channels are distinctly clear. It's got a good separation. Your bass management is in sync with one another, and also how you're at high dynamic volumes, you don't have distortion, right? You're gonna have a nice clean vibration, nice clean rumble without distortion. That's what's considered a good surround sound. Also, high ends, what they consider to be high end, and it's all subjective because it depends on your budget. High ends brands is gonna be your Storm Audio, your Trinovs, your Anthems. Mid tier would be Arcams, Marantz, Rotel, Emotivas, Sony ES, Integras. Your lower ends is gonna be your Pioneers, Yamahas, Onkyos, regular Sonys, regular Pioneers, and so forth. That's what they consider it. For me, on my chart here, something that's in the less than good category, it would be pretty much your, obviously, like I said, it's your processor with amp, right? So it's something where when you run it in high dynamic volume, you're gonna get distortion out of your speakers. That's less than good. In the good category, when you run in high volume, you're not gonna really get distortion, but it's not going to sound as good in high volume. And you're not going to have enough amp in there to push your sub to where you would want. And then in the better category, you're going to have, when you run that at high volumes, you're going to get, it's going to be loud. You're going to get enough power to push the rumble. It's going to be super loud. And you have the vibration, but even though it's loud, you're going to be missing something, right? You won't know what you're missing until you get the best. Now, in the best category, when you run it really on high dynamic volume, it's going to be super loud. You're going to get the clean vibration, and your speaker is going to get that even more the oomph. But then when you get the oomph, it's not too bright. So, for instance, when you're running Mission Impossible 3, when in the scene on the bridge, when you got those guys on the helicopter shooting their gun, in the better category, yeah, it's super loud. It's not distorted. And it does emphasize the gun's shots, but it's just it's too bright. When it's on the best category, it's going to emphasize the gunshots. It's going to extend the sound. It's going to be super loud and clear, but it's not too bright. If that makes any sense. In a way, it's going to be more deep, right? And the part where it would be too bright, it just be less bright and more towards the mid deep end. So that's how I would classify as in the best. And then for beyond the best would be something where obviously it's debatable, but they say the more money you spend, the better quality you get. Like I said, that's debatable. It could be true. I mean, shit, it better be true. All that money you spend, right? So, like I said, depends on your budget. So that's beyond best. I have not experienced the Anthem yet or the turn off yet and all that. So as far as I'm concerned, I have experienced the best, fortunately for me. But I would settle for better, right? So if I didn't for the category, right? So that's pretty much how I would rate the rating system as far as when you buy a processor or AVR. That's and then of course the price, it's doesn't actually reflects the actual price. So like that out of the way, let's get to the Arcam and the Marantz. Arcam, pretty much with just the internal amp itself, it's 60 watts, all channels driven. But we're gonna use the same RCA cables for pre-outs for both the Marantz and Arcam. We're gonna run those in my Rotel RKB 8100, which is the 8-channel, 100 watts per channel amp, and the 2-channel Marantz 7025, which is like I think 145 watts for each channel for 2 channels each. So each 145 watts, I believe, 140, 145, whatever, to give you that 5.2.4, and that's what we're gonna use for the comparison here. And on top of that, obviously the Arcam is gonna be put in a lesser disadvantage, not because it's older, but just because we're gonna run that in eARC, just so that it can be on par to run that 4K at 120 hertz to get all that Dolby Atmos, not Atmos, but to get all that Dolby Vision, HDR10, 4K 120, and all that, because obviously the Marantz has all the latest greatest features. But we're more focused on sound. Obviously the sound quality is great on both brands here, but distinctly every brand has their own distinct sound. Marantz is on the warmer side. Arcam to me it's more on the neutral side, but then all that changes when you have speakers, the type of speakers you have, and a lot of things changes, guys. But from the way mine's set up, the way that the Arcam is, I'm gonna have to obviously choose the Arcam over the Marantz AV7706. I just like the way the way that it extends the sound processing on it. I will put the Arcam AVR390 in the best category. For the Marantz, it's great too. It's amazing. It's warm sounding, and I like warm sounding, but I'm gonna have to put that in the better category, which is not bad. That's great. That's just how I would rate that, to be honest. And like I said, sound quality, both great. And the way a processor makes the sound will be subjective. But what I consider for a standard rating system, it's got to have what I described for a good surround sound, and that distinct, clear, good separation, bass management, extension of the bass, the emphasis on your speakers, the clarity, the power, the less effortless, all that is like I consider in the best category. And the Marantz is a little bit shy to make it to the best category. So that's why I have to choose Arcam here. In the future, guys, here, I'll be making more of this. You guys have suggestions, comments. Do you agree, don't agree? What you want to know? Any questions? Keep it friendly. Put it in the comments. Let me know. But I'm going to wrap it up before this video gets too long. Hopefully, I didn't miss anything. But that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Like, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.